So, it's Thursday.
Oh, yeah, natural gas.
Natural gas. So yesterday, of course, we got
oil
number,
that
big
was
number
amazing.
yesterday in terms of a build when they were looking for a decline. So I pulled up the natural gas contract. We're looking at the September contract. We've been bouncing around this morning in between about 293 up to about 294, 295, sitting just above 293 currently. And I'm going to jump to, so we get the EIA numbers at 10:30 every Wednesday. We got about 9 minutes. And what we're going to look at setting up maybe is some of these volatility trades we like to look at. So with the underlying natural gas trade at 293, we have spreads that are setting up with 295. So not too outlandish, not right next to where our point would be, but the goal being that we would buy a bullish spread, would be selling a bearish spread, and would be looking for volatility basically in either direction. Exposure on the way up, exposure on the way down. Now what's happening here is that you got about $17, $18 in intrinsic value to the downside. So your bearish spread costing you about $23, which is about 2.3 pennies from that 295. And the bullish spread is basically all premium because it's kind of an out-of-the-money spread right now. So this trade takes on a little bit of a bearish bias because guess what? To break even, you know, the whole trade's costing you about, call it $30, 29.
3 cents.
3 pennies away. So to break even, you need 3 pennies away from 295. So you need 292 or you need 298. And where we're at, we're almost at 293, right? So you see where to break even, you can gain some traction to the downside, much quicker to the upside. But maybe you're just looking for action in either direction. Might have a little bearish bias, see what happens. So that's the 11s. And to jump right to the noons, which are going to have an identical price point. So the only thing you're going to be paying for is that extra hour. You'll be buying the bullish one, selling the bearish one, line it up. It looks like they're going to be pretty similar.
It is.
Yeah, 31.
3.1.
So it's almost like $1 on each side, actually.
That's pretty
good.
You know,
as it's 29 to 31 for that extra hour. Now, natural gas doesn't usually have the type of volatility we've been seeing in oil.
Right.
But not a bad trade if you are looking for a little bit of maybe a surprise, just a reaction in that market as it comes out at 10:30. And regardless, you get some defined risk. You're putting up $30 for both sides of that contract. And normally we take a look at the dailies as well. Now, these trades, again, a little bit of a bearish bias because you have that intrinsic value to the bearish side. But the dailies line up with 290 as their price point. So instead of being like a penny and a half out, you're now going to be paying 3.5 pennies, right?
Which in gas is huge.
Yeah, and just so, you know, if you're bullish, that's great. Right? You know, and that's the flip side. So, you know, you have, and these go bigger. This is 40 cents now as opposed to the other ones. But there's your bullish spread. Again, all your intrinsic value in there. So that's going to be a really expensive one. And then if you just want to open yourself up to a big move to the downside, $5 for exposure from 290 down, but you can see how $43, but this is becoming a much more just bullish trade, you know, versus a volatility trade because you're so deep in the money on one side that, you know, it's not quite a volatility trade because guess what? You get 4 pennies of movement to the downside, and that's like your max loss almost, right? So it takes on a bullish bias. But you get a lot of options in there, all of them defined risk, and we get those numbers in 6 minutes right now.
And folks, if you haven't test driven yet the NADEX platform, real easy to do. Just come to our website. You'll see the banner on the top, the side. Bring it up, and you can walk with us as we go through these defined option contracts. Let me just bring up natural gas right now. And in fact, I wanted to, I forgot to talk to Kevin about. Look at what happened, folks, is that just the news that even low-level talks are going to happen with China and the United States. It sent lean hogs up limit. That's up 3.8%.
Soybeans right up 2.62. No, keep going, but no,
copper's up 2.5. Wheat's up 2.2.
Okay.
Silver's up 2%, but silver gave up 4% yesterday.
Okay.
So. But those, they came off the lows, that's for sure. The, what were we just talking about? What was I just...
Natural gas we were going to, China.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to look at natural gas. Thank you. So, 292. Oh, look at that. That's been quite a run, man. Okay, so... Oh, yeah. So that volatility trade, yeah, I like how this is setting up. Like...
Oh, bless
Excuse me, folks. Sorry about that. Well, we'll see what happens. But so was it a bearish bias on one of them?
Yeah, that's the one. The 11 and the 12 is a little bit bearish because that was 295 was our point, and we're at 293. So, and what's happening is, I mean, this is creeping back to where. You know, it's going to creep back to that 290s, and now it's almost splitting the difference where these 290s, basically you're getting 2.5 pennies if you want bearish bias, if you want bullish bias, you know what I mean? It's right in the middle of those price ranges.
It's going to be a true volatility trade, yeah.
So we'll see what happens. We get those numbers in 4 minutes. We'll be on break in a minute, and we'll see what happens.
And to give you that number that we're going to question, the lock limit on the hogs, we're right at it. It's if you're looking at Target TV, up limit is 55,475.
Okay, so we have a little bit. We have a whole point, I think, to go there.
Well, it already it already
hit it. Okay.
So this is what ends up happening when it hits lock limit. You can they open it up as long as someone wants to sell into it. That's how this works. So it's all lined up. Right now, there's going to be orders that, well, actually, they went through the orders because it would be lock limit again if there was more buyers than sellers.
Sure, right.
So bottom line is that, yeah, you had lock limit, and then at lock limit, all you can end up doing is selling.
Sure.
You know, but as someone
there's
sells,
you can buy.
You can buy on the other side, yeah. Stay right there, folks. Tommy and I are going to be coming right back with those natural gas numbers. We have the Dow Industrials up 322. NADEX is up 53. S&Ps are up 17. We'll come right back. Welcome back, folks. So, natural gas.
We got that number, man. Stockpiles rising 33 billion cubic feet. Estimate looks to be about 29. A little bit more natural gas than they thought. Instinctively, you should see the price declining, and boom.
Whoa, baby.
There you go. So we're back to about 290. And as we laid out those examples, right, that's where, you know, if you're making a volatility trade, and it's got a little bit of a bullish bias, like we talked about, well, geez, you were right in that it's about to pop 3 pennies, but you didn't have it lined up correctly, and that's where you want to understand what you're doing. And we'll see where this goes. I mean, maybe that 290 still might be a moneymaker because you'd have exposure under 290, as in if it moves quickly enough. But the 11s and the 12s,
yeah, they were in the money.
Those were, and we'll just pull them up even. The 12s, which, and there's our 295 to 275. This would be the one with all the value in it.
Yeah.
And so you're looking at about $45. We're putting up about 31 for the noon.
Right.
And again, you'd have, you know, we just basically used up 1 minute of the 90 that you have until expiration.
And when you're looking at that chart, and we pulled up it on Bloomberg, that 289 is game out here.
Okay.
You know? So it's going to be intriguing watching this. The thing that's intriguing, too, is that, you know, you wonder, we had that big build in oil yesterday, and I was thinking that, you know, of course, what happens with oil wells in general, there's so much gas that comes out of the oil well, they capture some of it, most of it just goes away. But, you know, it's like, okay, so you're pumping that much that natural gas also gets moving. So,
yeah, so quite a number. And let's see if they have anything more going on here. What do we got, a table in here? Yeah, so they give you the full breakdown in terms of where they are, but bottom line is more natural gas than they thought. And that's going to send the price lower, and it's pretty intriguing as we come out of the summer and into whether we get some cold spells. You were just looking at something going on in the Northeast, right? They're finally going to get a little...
They're going to get the first... well, actually, what it said there is that, like, today is the hottest day in New York, and I guess it's going to... It's been there for a week or something. Here it is right here. It's going to break. So relief may be coming on the way from oppressive heat and humidity that's been gripping New York and much of the Northeast for a week.
For sure.
Yeah, we know, folks. It's ironic. You know, we've been in Florida for a long time now, and when you're from the city, really in the city in Boston, you got to be out of the city when the heat spell comes in, because it's vicious.
It's all bricks, it's all stones, so they all absorb that heat. It's like a hot stone, and then they're just emitting heat from the ground, from the buildings, from everything, and let alone, they're talking, humidity has been fierce in New York and elsewhere in the region with dew points around 70 degrees. We might be used to that type of action in Florida for humidity. Very humid, which just, as we know in Florida, really makes you feel.
But we have air conditioning everywhere. Where
we do.
Up there, you got window air conditioning.
You do? I mean, that's where, you know, so many other places, and of course, we're talking a lot about Boston we're familiar with, but I'm sure it's like that in New York. We just have older buildings, older places that only really have 2 months of intense heat for the summer, so they're not going to spend boku bucks to fill it with some top-end AC. They open the windows and said, everybody, get your fans going, right? I mean, they do. We know it. Say an August day is great by the city, but I don't want to sit in the sun on your porch and sweat my butt off.
So the first cool front's going to come in Friday.
Okay.
You know? And that's, you know, yesterday when I was talking about the Falmouth Road Race, that's what seems to happen. This is the time of the year that the first one comes in.
Okay.
And you say, okay, I know fall's coming. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. You think August 15th, they feel fall?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
just not fall, but the first cold front does come in. Then it's going to
Okay.
get hot again. I mean, it's
Okay.
going to be beautiful.
Yeah,
There's no doubt.
I mean,
You
I know
what mean?
by September it's coming
Yeah.
fast
Yeah.
for sure. So I guess we're 2 weeks away from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome back, folks. Natural gas was still laying at 290.
Yeah, one final check. So we're sitting basically right where we were after those
Yeah.
numbers, right? So we're approaching 11 o'clock, sitting at 290. If you had traded the 11 a.m. expirations, not a bad trade. Those had 295. Same thing with the noons. Quite the reaction. Let's see where we go from there. Yeah.
Totally. Let's go to Omagh in Ontario, Canada.